Hello, I'm Annabel Brodie-Smith, the Communications Director of the Association of Investment Companies. And earlier today, I was talking to Matthew Rourke, partner at HgCapital, and Roger Mountford, who's chairman of the board of HgCapital Trust, all about HgCapital Trust.
HgCapital is an investment business. We raise money from clients, the largest of which is HgCapital Trust, whose money we manage. And the money that we raise from clients, we invest directly into growth companies across Northern Europe. We invest in a number of specific sectors, into technology businesses, services businesses, and industrials businesses. Growth is our priority. We're always looking to back growing businesses. We invest in a variety of businesses in those sectors I mentioned, but the first thing we always look for is business model. We're always looking for the following characteristics: some form of subscription or repeat revenue model, a high level of IP in the business, which is normally reflected in very high margins. We like the service to be provided typically to another business and for it to be really mission critical or a non-discretionary purchase on behalf of the customer. And we like to sell into highly fragmented customer bases. We think what those business models give us is a highly defensible, predictable investment opportunity, which we can then look to try and grow through a variety of means. We tend to try and mine particular themes or areas which we come back to time and time again. So for example, HgCapital over the last 15 years, we've invested in maybe 15 businesses which purely serve the compliance market for tax and accounting services, either on the software side or the services side. And by getting that depth of experience and understanding of particular niche markets, that allows opportunities almost to find their way to us. So very recently, for instance, we invested in a business called Sovos, which is a global provider of tax software for retailers to enable them to manage their point of sales tax. That business was an opportunity which we found through the depth of research that we'd conducted on tax accounting software in many countries around the world.
As an investment trust, we of course have a completely independent board, that is independent of the manager whom we appoint to manage the funds of the trust. The role of the board, therefore, is to set the strategy of the trust, to agree the major commitments we make to invest alongside each of the vintages or funds that the manager organizes, to set policies around the deployment of our cash, to decide the dividends, and of course to scrutinize and challenge the manager where that is appropriate. For example, our Audit and Valuation Committee, which is chaired by one of my colleagues, spends a lot of time scrutinizing the valuations of each of the investments that we own through the manager, both at the half year and at the end of the year. And our Management Engagement Committee, which again is chaired by another of my colleagues, manages the relationship with the manager and the other professional service providers to ensure that we are well engaged with the manager and ensure that the manager will remain well resourced with all the experience and skills that they need in order to manage our funds over the long term. Well, I think that investors should consider private equity at all times. It's a long-term asset class. You know, all the major institutions, pension funds, sovereign wealth funds, and so on, life insurance companies, they have all been investing in private equity for decades. But they invest through limited partnerships that are not available to the public, to wealth managers, or to smaller institutions. The minimum investment runs into millions of pounds. It's a commitment for more than 10 years at a time, and it requires a great deal of due diligence to select the managers who are best in class. So HgCapital Trust, as an investment trust whose shares are listed on the London Stock Exchange, provides a vehicle through which investors can invest as little as or as much as they want in listed shares that they can trade alongside these major institutions. in order to diversify their portfolio. We believe that an allocation to private equity within a diversified portfolio makes sense for all long-term patient investors.
HgCapital Trust has a strong long-term record through different economic cycles, and the board of HgCapital Trust believe that investors should have an allocation to private equity. Thank you so much for watching today.